Welcome to the Intentional Athlete Podcast, where strength is more than a number on the bar. I'm your host, Ross Leppala, powerlifter, coach, and co-creator of the Intentional Athlete Experience. This show is for lifters, movers, and seekers who know that what happens in the gym echoes into your life. We explore how to train with purpose, live with clarity, and channel the pursuit of strength into something deeper, something transformative. Each episode, we'll dive into conversation, tools, and insights that help you align your mindset, body, and spirit. Because real growth doesn't just happen under the barbell. It happens in your mind, in your breath, and in your choices. This is about more than just PRs. This is about presence, power, and progress that lasts. Welcome to the journey, my friend. Welcome to the Intentional Athlete Podcast.
Hey, what's up, my friends? Welcome back to the Intentional Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Ross Leppala. Today I have my friend and guest, Abraham Amon, on the show. He is a Paralympic athlete out of Nigeria. Really awesome story, really cool perspective and ideas around visualization, around self-love, and like what fear and some of those deep-rooted limitations, where they come from and how we can navigate past them. That's core to the intentional athlete, is being aware of what those limitations are so that we can move beyond them. Not just in our athletics, but using athletics as that playground to generate that awareness and figure out how to move and transform beyond that, and then bringing those skills over into other areas of our life so that our entire life can be a grand expression of what our capacity and capabilities truly are, because 99.9% of the time, it is more than what we are currently expressing. I do believe that most of the time, most people are limited in a false way. And when we work through these and we engage them intentionally and we look fear in the eye, we look that ego in the eye, and we go, not today. Today, I'm going to show up with intention. So, with that said, let's get into the episode with Abraham. Abraham, my friend, welcome to the Intentional Athlete Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, and you?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Excited to jump in on this conversation with you. You're one of the very few people that has reached out to me randomly from the internet, finding the podcast, asking to be a guest, and I've actually been interested enough to have joined me. So, because a lot of times people are just wanting to promote their book and not actually have real conversations. So I was really excited that you wanted to have a real intentional conversation and not just tell people about your new book that's coming out. So excited to dive in. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're at in the world, and what you do?
Okay, thanks for having me here. My name is Abraham Amon. I'm from Nigeria. I'm a Paralympian, a professional high jumper, a creative performer, and also an inspirational speaker. So my work lies on the intersection of sports, imagination, and mental mental resilience. I believe the human potentials can expand if we learn how to face challenges with courage, creativity, and mental awareness.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I think that's huge. Paralympian, what is that like for you? Because I know that can be kind of a broad subject, or everybody faces a different set of constraints in the Paralympic world. What are yours?
Okay, my journey to the Paralympics has been more of adventurous, suffering, and more like lessons, learning and growing. So I would say it it was an experience. What I trained 9 years before I went to the Olympics, so I had a lot of experience before I got there. So I would say it was a result of my hard work, dedication, and God grace.
Yeah. And you said high jump, and I think you do a long jump as well, right?
Yes, I'm a professional high jumper and also a creative performer. So I do, aside high jump, I do other stunt activities, like jumping over cars, playing football, doing anything jump, or does anything creative. So I usually engage in that. Yeah, I use more like a content to tell a story. So that's the creative performance side.
Right. And for people that don't or haven't seen you express yourself athletically, I think one of the things for people just listening on audio to understand the significance of the barriers and limitations that you fought through, you have one of your legs is not as functionable as a regular normal leg. What can you expand on what you have, what that constraint is?
Okay, yes, I was born with a physical condition. It's called tibia type 2, where my right leg is shorter than the left leg. So I would say from the start, it's more like from the start, it's more like I've always the world made me to understand this, and sometimes the world tries to tell me what to do and what not to do. So I would say there were moments I doubted myself, moments where giving up would have been easy than going forward, moments where there were setback, but I found sports and this I found creativity and all that. But it's more like it's not to deny difficulty, but to move through it with and purpose and understanding. And I never let my circumstance to ever define my story. So that's just my mentality.
Yeah, which is beautiful, and I think it's a big lesson for people to learn is to not let your circumstances define who you are, what you do, how you show up in the world. And you've done a beautiful job at demonstrating that with, going on and doing some wonderful things despite the circumstances that you faced. Would was that resiliency? Did you find that to come naturally, or was there other influences in your life that helped teach you and connect with that and elevate yourself?
Um, I would say it didn't. Okay, I would say it it didn't come naturally. It was as a result of suffering and pain and all that. Growing up as, let me use the word, a special need person, a disabled. You have a lot of inner traumas, inner challenges. You face discrimination. You know. Okay, let me cite an example. Like while growing up, I've been so isolated because of you'll be among your peers. Some will start calling you names, one leg. Okay, it's most of the time you see stuff you can do, but not being given the opportunity to do, and always needing help from friends, from people. So it caused a lot of and I will let me then use the word and so it caused a lot of discrimination, hate, and also while growing up, I came to observe that I needed to find way to do things my way. I needed to find way to skate. So I started thinking different, and it's more like I'm always imagining things I want to do. So that was what led to my my athletics journey.
That's beautiful. So part of what I hear from that is you face these trials and tribulations, both physically from a physical limitation and from your peers discriminating against you, calling you names, basically, subjecting you to making you feel like you're less than. And you start to use sports to explore the powers of imagination, which start to reshape your mind, which then starts to reshape how you participate in the unfolding of life.
Yes, and there were physical limitation and inner limitation, and the one inside. Why why you have, like, let me just use most disabled people for an example. You'll be born like this. It's more like the world has taken a lot from you. It's more like a 1-0. So there will always be this inner trauma, and you always questioning yourself. Why me? Why am I like this? Why am I like that? So and that thought alone will rise the level of awareness, because um, I came to understand that those thoughts we are more like our fears, those heavy emotions. We always questioning ourselves. So my started from small. So from small, and I already have this inner trauma inside. Then the physical one projected from friends and all that led to my athletics journey. So I decided to start engaging. Like I always look for a way to do things myself without calling the next man. So I had this mentality right from when I was small because having to call for help every time, call for help every time. So I needed to look closely. Okay, how can I do this stuff myself first before having to call anyone for help? So that brought about, and that made me to find my potential in athletics. Growing up, it's more like I would see my friends playing football, running, doing those all those stuff. Then I would really want to engage. I really want to do it myself. And even when the odds were against me, you can't. So I was like, I will give it a try. I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
So
When
that
you started to give it a try and you started to dabble in those different sports and athletic adventures, was there like a moment where I think like a light bulb moment where you had that realization of, whoa, like that I can do this. This is something within my capacity and capability. I just need to believe in myself and rise to that awareness, and I will then, as a result, move past those limitations.
And yes, there were moments like that. It was quite a long process. It was a process of much observation. So first, what I came to observe in high jump and sports, it was one certain day like that I went for training. Though I was just saying sports, it's just more like let me just try. I will jump. Let me try. I will jump. So there was one day I was at the stadium. So there was one certain height I couldn't jump, and there was no way I could jump that height. So I sat down somewhere. I saw an image of me like jumping over that bar. Like I just saw an image running and jumping over that bar. So I was like, wow. So and I had to reflect back. So maybe this is why most high jumpers they will look back and front. They are seeing an image of themselves taking the leap and jumping over the bar. So I took inspired action the moment I saw that picture, and lo and behold, I cleared the bar then. So I always right from that day I've always had this mentality that whenever I close my eye in the place of solitude, I want to do anything. High jump, long jump. I practice this formula using that cast stunts I did. So whenever I want to do anything in the place of solitude, I know that if I want to do anything, me seeing the picture in my mind, it's more like me seeing the picture of what I want to do. It's more like me connecting to my mind, and mind is a place where image have been formed. Now me seeing that picture, it's more like I'm also pouring energy because energy cannot be destroyed but can be converted from one form to another. But it's more like creation. You're pouring energy somewhere, you're creating. You've gone to the future while you're in the present. Understanding that the present will be a thing of the past. So I had to observe, okay, whenever I close my eyes, I see that I'm creating. Destiny is in my hands. I'm pouring energy. So I've been using this formula, this mentality for quite a long time. So I practice it in that capstone where I saw an image of myself jumping over a car. So I was like, wow, let me take inspired action. So what I noticed there, after I think of that which I want to do, it becomes a thought, an idea of thinking, a content, a box. So tomorrow now I want to go for training and seeing the picture of me jumping, doing my programs. I've had that image I've created. It becomes a thought, an idea of thinking, a content. Then with time and training, I've been practicing the imagination thing, using that to for my athletics journey whenever I'm going for training. So there was a certain time like that, quite a long time, because I never knew myself. Like I said, it was quite a push. I thought it was all about imagination, seeing the picture, going for jumps and all that. There was a day I went for training. I could not do a simple program, which I usually do effortlessly. So I had to check what, and what happened. Why am I feeling this down, sad, bad, depressed, and all that? that I cannot do my program. Now, and I came to, but I reflected back why I imagined this program. I can do this program. What happened? I cannot manifest it. So, and I had to check back that it's one thing for us to imagine that which we want to do, for us to have the thoughts, the idea, and taking inspired action. And it's one thing for us to manage our emotions. Now, I came to understand that our thoughts influence our reality experience. We react to things, the way how we see things, how we react to things. So I came to understand that thoughts can either be good or bad. Like if I'm always having a negative thoughts, a bad thoughts, it's going to influence my experience, how I react to things. Now I came to understand I cannot create in a place of sadness. I cannot think that which I want to do. I cannot do that high jump or that program I love to do. Why I'm depressed, why I'm sad. So, and I came to understand that it's one thing to imagine, to have the ideas, the thoughts, and it's one thing to manage our emotion. So that thought alone made me to always be positive about myself. For me to always be positive. So I came to understand that positivity is more like me believing in myself, me and loving myself, me understanding myself. And if I don't, I cannot give out which I don't have. I came to understand that if I needed anybody, anyone to believe in me, to believe I can jump over this, I can do that. First of all, I am ready to believe in myself. So I needed to always be positive. I can instead of I can't. So I needed to say I needed to be the one to say I can first before I can expect others. So I came to understand that okay, it's more like it's just like a game of we and believing in ourselves. We always being positive and pouring the energy back inside and having to balance negative and having to balance, let me use the word and negative, those are sad aspect of us. So it's more like me having to have a balance there. Definitely there will be those times of sadness and depression and all that. So I came to understand that instead of me to give in to those times, I just needed to find this calmness and stillness. Like I'm healed, I'm calm. You can't take my joy. I believe in myself. So I'll say all this positive stuff to myself. Then I'll just say to myself, I'm strong. Then I love myself. So that made me to have to understand myself better. That and before I can love that neighbor, before I can give anything out, before I can follow peace with all men, I needed to find peace within. And before I can love my neighbor, I needed to love myself, believe in myself, trust yourself, and have that balance. So, like I said, it's quite a long journey. I learned a lot before the Paralympics, which I have been putting into practice, managing my emotions, and putting in the work. Imagine definitely you take inspired actions in that direction, and you balance your emotions with time. It becomes a reality.
Yeah, man, it's beautiful. You're speaking my language. I totally agree with everything that you said there, and I like that you reinforce that it's not just a light bulb moment, that it's a process that it's something that you have to cultivate over time
Yeah.
and nurture over time. One of the things that I think about with that is like you're learning how to love yourself better, and love is a nurturing quality, and we have to nurture that into within ourselves if we find ourselves in such a place. And so I really like that that's part of the unfolding of your story. I really like that you're talking about taking responsibility and how you are creating your experience and what you're doing in yourself internally to create your experience. I really love the idea of inspired action. That's absolutely beautiful because ideas are great and there's nothing wrong with great grand ideas, but they also are empty without the inspired action behind them, and we have to be able to take action and take step forwards and do those things to bring it to life.
Yes, definitely. In that direction which we think about to take inspired action, then with time unfold itself. At first, it's not going to be clear. We can't, but that's where and the miracle comes in. That's where God comes in, and we leave the work for Him. At this, we thought about what we want. Our destiny is in our hands. We create our destiny, the life we want. Then, and God comes in to do the work. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, and I think too, one of the keys, I think, with the idea of inspired action that you're talking about is that you you're also hitting on the idea that you have to choose to see yourself and express yourself in a positive light. And when we look at like self-sabotage and fear and inaction, it is a worry of the future and it not being perfect rather than inspired action can be an antidote to that being frozen fear. And just thinking about as well, you mentioned curiosity and just being like curious to explore what can I create? What is possible? What possibilities exist if I apply myself forward with inspired action is fucking beautiful.
Yes, thank you.
One of the things that comes up a lot of times, I think, with this visualization and seeing ourselves doing things, and I get a lot of athletes that I work with that are like, oh, well, every time I close my eyes and visualize a lift, I fail and I miss. And that seems to be one of the common reasons why people are like, oh, I can't do meditation. I can't do visualization. I suck at it. Okay, cool. Keep trying. It's a skill that you cultivate. What is your antidote to the naysayers of visualization?
Okay, visualization, to me, while we are awake and we are this conscious, then we close our eyes and see that image of we want. So, to me, I see visualization. It's more like daydreaming, like we dreaming in the day. While we sleep at night, we see ourselves. So, and during the day, why we close our eyes, awake, think of that which we want to do. So it's more like we are using the energy of the sun. We are creating consciously, conscious creation. To me, that's how I see visualization. Because sorry, there's a saying that says that a small, sorry,
It's all
so
good.
there's a saying that
Anytime.
says that it's more spiritual than the physical, something like that. So I think visualization, and if anything has to be done and properly, if anything has to be bet to this life, yeah, it's being done over there, it's being created there. And so when we see that which we want, and it's more like we are connecting, like once you see an image of yourself, you're daydreaming, creating. Is good. We understand that we are pouring energy somewhere. We are creating. So that's how I see visualization. Visualization is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%, especially when we're talking about our athletic pursuits. One of the things that I really like to think about from an intentional athlete aspect is, we're learning these skills and cultivating these skills in like the playground of sports and athletic. And as we learn those skills, we then bring them to other areas of our life to create positivity, to create more abundance and positivity and creativity in other areas of our life. And I know you mentioned motivational speaking and inspirational speaking. Like, you have this visualization power to help you with high jumping. How are you leveraging that in other ways to further your endeavors and make impact for other people? And what are you trying to do with that?
Okay, that's an interesting question. That's an interesting one. And I will say, and the goal is to help what I visualize. So I thought about it. Is good. Many people know more about this stuff. So I visualize. Let me say a platform. Like I try to be creative in my own way, where I can have this platform to let at least to let people know the truth. And because I believe they know the truth, they can walk in love and their light shall shine before everybody. So visualization, one of my main goals of using visualization is to let people start believing in themselves. Is to let people know and you can actually your destiny is in your hands. You can actually create your destiny. But you just need to get the picture, and that's why we have a brain. You put in the work, you stress yourself, think that's which you want to do, and take inspired actions. You put in the work, you believe in yourself, because definitely, I've I've come to understand, I've come to see, most of my kind people using the crutches and all that, and they don't really believe in themselves. So I want to do to make people come to understand that it's actually more to them than just not living. We visualize, we let people know way or the other that they can actually do this. So I'm actually living by example. That's why I usually do most of my content, customs, audios, and the rest, and I've been doing more. So I lead by example where I pull a stone, then I'll tell people this is how it's been done. It's so easy, simple, and clear. You just need to visualize yourself. Definitely, it's a process. Once you visualize, you take a start action. With time, you learn and you go, it unfold, and you become a master. So that is my state of visualization.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. The other thing that's coming to my mind as you go through a lot of that stuff, I hear the kiddos playing in the background. Are those your kids?
Oh no, those are my nephew. They are not my kids.
Your nephews? And that's totally fine. I just wanted to understand the relationship there because that changes the way I ask the question. How do you use this to show up as a better uncle?
How do I use the question? Come again. Let me hear you.
How do you use these skills to show up as a better uncle for your nieces and nephews? Like, what is that? How do you leverage these skills to help inspire them so that they can take inspired action as they grow older and they grow up?
Okay, like I said earlier, I lead by example. So I lead by example. Always tend to tell them the truth, even though it's painful, and I always try to discipline them, because I'm an athlete, and I may be an athlete. I'm very disciplined. And you don't have to be lazy. There's no room for laziness. When it's time, it's time. You put in the work. So, aside the imagination, visualization, I always tend to, I've come to understand that there's no perfection. We just have to have this balance within, we just have to have this balance within our light and our dark, our negative and our positive. So when there's negative, we have this balance to be calm. When there's light, is there for our advantage. So I always tend to identify and to know when they are sad, when they are depressed, when they are sober. So I'll be there to let them know it's just a feeling, and these too shall pass. So I lead by example. I try to calm them whenever they are. I try to let them know, be calm, don't worry. This is just a feeling. You'll be all right, and all that. So in different ways, I will say.
Yeah, wonderful. That's great to hear that they have that influence from you and you bring those qualities to their life. I really appreciate that. I think that's huge because one of the reasons I ask that question is I often look at some of this framework and some of the things that we do is the the things that kids respond really well to and that we kind of tend to, at least in the US, that's part of the culture in the US is like, oh, the kids they need to like grow up. And as they grow up, they're like hardened and toughened and they're not allowed to kind of be kids. And there's a bit of that nurturing that's kind of taken away from. And I think we as adults still crave that nurturing. So one of the ways that I view it is a lot of times that nurturing that I am trying to provide other people is the same nurturing that my inner soul needs. And that can be a cue for me to like do that for myself. It's not that I need somebody else to do it for me anymore. I don't need mommy or daddy to do it for me anymore, but I do need to be aware of it. I need to rise to that awareness so that I can provide that for myself. Same thing with as you're talking about being positive and channeling and having that inner self-love. Like that's how that
Yes,
is created.
yes, exactly. Like you said it all, because I came to see this formula. We said positive times positive give us positive. So it's more like when we are always positive, I came to understand that when I'm this always positive, I believe I can do this. I believe I can do this. I'm channeling those energies, those belief inside me. So I'm being positive now. I'm the positive one. So that it's going to become a reflection of my reality. I'll definitely attract a positive, like-minded people like me. I've tried it most of the time. So there was one time I wanted to do a program like that, hurdles, and I've not done it before. So I came out, okay, I can jump this. On a scale of 1 to 10, let me say like 7 believed in me that, wow, don't worry, I know him, he can do that. Like most of them have not seen me from anywhere. So with the level of confidence and everything, most of them believe. So the 2% was like, okay, rest what. So if we tend to love ourselves, if we tend to be kind, to be nice to ourselves, the way we treat ourselves, and that's the way we should always tend to treat others, so that attract good. Because if we are always positive, being nice to ourselves, we can gift ourselves things to go to the store to gift ourselves. Is why they say love thy neighbor as you love thyself. So if I can love myself to an extent, I can do good stuff for myself. I tell myself the truth. So definitely I can be able to be that positive to love my other neighbor. So but if I'm always and being deceptive, being this one, I'm going if I always have these deceptive traits, then definitely I'm going to always attract deceptive people. And like what I have within, definitely you have hate, deception, anger, you attract the match one way or the other. So I've seen this formula, like you can't give out what you don't have. If I don't have this belief in me that I can do some certain things, and not like if I don't have this love, this joy within, I don't see how anybody can ask me for, you don't love me, you should love me the way I am. Why I don't love myself the way I am? So I don't think that formula doesn't work. So we tend to love ourselves the way we are, accept ourselves the way we are, then believe in ourselves regardless anything, the time and season, put in the work. Definitely, we attract people that will do the same for us in this lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't help but think when you were saying a lot of that, and this might go down a rabbit hole and diverge away from some athletics, but I couldn't help but think that a lot of the like state of the world that we see with conflict and fighting and war, wherever we're at in the world, is an expression of somebody's own lack of self-love,
Yes,
right? Like it has nothing to do with if one person dislikes another person or one group dislikes another group. It has nothing to do with disliking the other group. It's actually an expression of their own dislike for themselves and a lack of self-love.
yes, it's a lack of self-love because when we tend to love ourselves and be honest to ourselves, and love is a light energy. There's no deception in it. So once we tend to be this positive and love ourselves, it's more like we are walking in the light. There's no deception, no bad, nothing like. I think it's how we treat ourselves first, then we bring to an organization. That's how we can treat everybody. And if they also learn to treat each other and to follow each other in harmony. If everybody tend to love themselves as they love their neighbor, I think the world would be a better place. If we come to understand that and that this stuff is very painful, it hurts, you cannot do to yourself, definitely you cannot be to your neighbor. So I think if everybody tends to understand and love themselves, the world has to be balanced somehow.
Yeah. So I think we're about to solve all the world's problems now then. What do you, what do you think the first step is for somebody that I mean, I think the first step is awareness if somebody doesn't have that self-love. But let's say that they have that awareness. Let's say they realize and recognize that they look themselves in the mirror and they can't say, "Hey, I love you." And there isn't that relationship with self. What do you think the first step is for somebody to like start to create and cultivate that relationship with themselves where they can have self-love and self-respect?
The first step. Okay. Like you said earlier, and awareness. So I would say awareness is more like you being conscious, like consciousness. So if they should just like while I was practicing all this, I made some move for myself to try to keep me in the present moment, try to always keep me in check and aware of my emotions. So it's more like
Mhm.
whenever I'm sad, I know. Whenever I'm happy, I know. When there's time for sadness, regardless what happened, I'll be this present, happy or sad, or like, I didn't like this feeling. What would happen? So it's heartbreak, anything, leg pain, fracture, anything. I'll needed to first of all identify with the pain. I'll needed to first of all identify what made me feel sad. I don't like this feeling. So when I'm this conscious, I'll have to choose. More like you making use of your willpower. You choose between right and wrong, good and bad. So the ability for me to choose consciously, definitely the situation is bad. It required me to be sad, depressed, be angry. But the ability for me to be conscious and look at the situation and say, okay, regardless what has happened, I choose to be calm. I choose to be at peace with myself. So then I've made use of my willpower. I've choose consciously. I've choose positivity. I've choose light over the dark. I've choose to stay and positive. Though the situation might not turn out the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to make me feel sad, depressed, and so bad. But the ability for me to choose
Yeah.
consciously, I'm always like always to. So what I would say is they should look for formulas to always try to be conscious, like this emotional check. Once we are always present, first of all, we practice it within ourselves. Then we can start practicing it outside. Like if I'm always checking myself when I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm this calm, I try to control my emotions. And definitely I can tell when the next man is sad and depressed and when they want to project it onto me. And because I know manipulation or projection and if someone can project and his or her negative thoughts. More like inception. Someone can plant like an idea that will make you feel sad in your mind. So I know inception and deception and the rest. If we are this always conscious, like you said, awareness first. When we are aware, like we are aware, we know we can every detect. We can start from there. It's just we just put the formula. Like I put a formula which like every 6 minutes I'll have to check my emotion, happy or sad, happy or sad, but I'm okay. I'm love. Like if I detect any negative emotion, I'll be like, okay, I'm healed now. I love myself. I'm loved. I would even say, I ain't like this thing. I'm healed. So I started from there, which I is a process which I came to, which made me I came to understand myself.
Yeah. I love that. I think the three big things to highlight there and really emphasize for anybody listening is awareness, presence, and choice. And the second you have the awareness to where your presence is at, you can choose where you're going to be. Because I think a lot of times, I think most of the times when we're experiencing sadness or worry or fear, we're not in the present moment. We're allowing our mind to wander and we're choosing to react and respond to something that isn't part of reality in this specific moment and present time. And even if we're in a less than desirable situation, so as long as it's not a like life and health and safety issue in the present moment, we ought to be able to choose joy and happiness in spite of whatever the circumstances are. And I think when we're able to recognize that we have that choice, it's huge. And one of the things I like to try and point out to people in that moment is the like trying to create uh, a separation between emotion and mood and realize that you get to choose your mood. You get to choose your underlying state of joy or sadness or happiness. The
Yes,
emotion,
definitely.
right? The emotion is like a fleeting response to the external stimuli and environment, but that doesn't mean that it affects your mood. And that's where realizing that we can be both happy and sad at the same time. We can experience both of them simultaneously is really important. You choose your mood. Your emotions are a response to external stimuli. That's it.
Yes, that's true. Our emotions are just like water. It can be converted from one form to another. Sometimes can be hot, can be cold, can be. And our body contains 60 to 70% of water, so it can really be changed. Like it's we, if we decide to be sad or happy, so that's just how it is. Like you said, something out and being present too. Always because the present moment is where the power is. Like the now, the present is in the now. The choice we made now. If we choose to be positive, choose to walk in light, and it's going to be the memories that we're going to look back. So in a case whereby and now we choose to the positive, choose to do things where not to do abnormal, like not to. So if we do not choose consciously, that's where in the long run, in the future, that's where regret comes in. When someone does do things subconsciously abnormal, at the time in the long run, at that time then I would have not. In a case whereby in the now we choose consciously, okay, this is what I want to do. I know what I want to do. I go for what I want to do. And eventually do that stuff. I think we'll live with no regret. No regret because we made a conscious choice and life will be better. I made a conscious choice to, like me, I made a conscious choice to jump over a car to do that. So my skill was already balanced there. So people were like, what if you break your hand, you break your leg, you break this down, you break down, but I would say that my skill was already balanced in the sense that it's not that I neglected the negative part, the pain, what you the breakdown, the possibility of that happening, but I already had my balance there. Because being an athlete with broken bone before, fracture and dislocation and all that. So in the present of those pain, I was in the present moment. I was like, is this the pain of a broken? I don't like this pain. The pain was too much. So then I had to recognize with the pain. I was like, okay, if this is the pain of a broken bone, today I've known you, come to recognize with you. Whenever you come again, I don't think pain me down much because I came to understand that nothing lasts forever and this too shall pass. And the time of pain shall pass. So the time of pain, I will not to give in to pain. Now be shouting, be crying, you walk on all these negative thoughts. So rather, I'll need to find this stillness and calm. I'll be like, okay, today pain I've not moved. Then okay, you do the best you can do. You will go certainly 2 weeks, 1 week, a month. So I had all this thought, okay, and pain will come and go. And but regardless, what I saw, the image I saw, I must do what I want to do. I must take care. So I balanced my negative. The advantage is always to balance yours.
Yeah. So it, I got a little confused there and wanting to make sure I understand something. Did you actually, when you jumped the car, did you actually break your leg?
No,
No. So did you break your leg in a different setting? So like we broke up there for a minute. We'll hit reset.
okay.
Did you break your leg in a different setting?
No. I didn't break my leg at all, and the
Gotcha.
jump was successful. Yes, it was successful. Like, I didn't do much practice. I didn't practice for it. So, from the first, second, third jump, because we had to take the sides, back, front, and side. So, all was successful.
Gotcha. Okay. So it was more the concern from other people talking about the possibility of you breaking your leg, and you kind of sat with the possibility of what that pain would be like, and as a result, like that was part of your way to work through that fear.
Yes, you do. Like I said, and most of the time, fears can be projected from others to us. So they were telling me the possibility of me and the negative aspects, and which, if I was not really careful enough, I would have given in.
Mhm.
Be like, okay, I want to jump over a car, and yes, that's true. What if I break my leg, I break my hand, and but my scale was balanced. So I said, nevertheless, I'm going to do the calf turn.
Yeah. I love that sentence, that phrase that you just stated, that fear is a projection onto us from other people.
Yes, through some acts of manipulation, through manipulation, deception, inception, instigation. So I came to understand that fears, negative emotions, thoughts most of the time can be done through manipulation, in the sense that inception, someone can plant ideas, can plant fears into our mind. We are not this conscious and careful of our thoughts, what we think and how we create things. So someone can just come and started things and like just plant an idea. Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do this? So if we are not this careful enough, and that's inception. So and deception is more like the physical one. Someone will come and deceive you to do things that you don't want to do, or to bring out your fears. Then we have instigation. Someone can just say, then you buy the egg. So that's just it. I came to understand most of all this stuff are real if we our thoughts actually create our reality. If we are this careful
Mhm.
of how we think and how we see things, because if I'm always being negative, I can't. I came to understand that there's no way I can perform. So, but if I'm always I can. There's always a possibility that definitely is going to happen.
Yeah. One of the things that I like about some of the points in this conversation as well are just reinforcing some of the other stuff that I talk about with the idea that, we're a blank canvas. Like our minds are born with nothing and it is all created. Everything that we think about, all of our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings, our mindset, everything is created. And if we don't do so with intentionality and with consciousness and awareness, if we don't choose to create that in the unfolding of our life right now, today, in the present moment, we are just an expression of what had been taught to us in our subconscious, in our past, based on our environment and other external experiences. And most of the
Projections.
times, right, projections too. And most of the time, as you kind of alluded, that is just mind pollution. And part of the elevation of consciousness and the pursuit of athletics from intentionality is cleaning up that pollution, cleaning up that trash, and throwing it out so that it is not limiting your expression in athletics and in life and all the different roles and the stories that you play out in.
Yes, that's true, definitely.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So, Abraham, I do want to be mindful of your time here, and I'm looking at the clock, and I know I got to get rolling here soon. I got some other meetings to attend to. I do want to end on the question, though, of you get the people that just say I can't, and the people that kind of deny that responsibility to like walk this path and take the awareness and take the responsibility and take the consciousness and realize that they are creating their experience. What what advice do you have for people that get stuck in that and say, "Oh, I can't," and they're like addicted to that expression of "I can't"? How do you turn an "I can't" into an "I can"?
Like I said earlier, I think if we believe in ourselves, if we love ourselves, and I think we always want to see ourselves win. If we say we love ourselves, we want good things for ourselves. We want to see ourselves growing, and we want to see ourselves flourish. So, in the process of I can instead of I can't. So, if if they can identify what make them say I can't, I think they are being conscious then. Oh, sorry, I got okay. Are you there?
Hey, it looks like you made it back in. All right. Let's
Sorry,
go ahead.
our network this side is kind of fucked up. So sorry, it comes the
Yeah, it's all good. I can edit that. I would say just start over from the top and answering that question, and that'll be an easy edit.
okay.
Do you need me to ask it again?
I mean,
Yeah.
so
So what would be your advice for somebody to turn that "I can't" into an "I can"? How do they start to create that shift?
Okay. Like so, in the case of where someone usually say I can. So we all then to identify that point of I can't. So I think that's our fears, or that's their fears. So if we can identify our fears, see that which we fear most that makes us say I can. So I come to understand that the only way we can face our fears is we using our fears to face our fears. Like we learn
Mm.
like the way I use in facing my fears. I came to understand that my fears is more like me understanding the negative aspect of fears. Why is it fears? What make people okay? I will use snake for an example. Okay, and growing up, I came to understand that most people usually fear snake. Like there's this thing about snake, it's very fear to people. So I came to understand that if we can actually learn what makes that fears our fears, like learn the negative aspect of that fears, learn what makes this that the creature or anything is feared, and learn to, even though we do not learn to live with it, learn to adapt. Like if I came to understand that if we are always scared of snakes, scared. But there's this time if we just develop the courage to face our fears, and definitely that which we fear most, we lose its power. So when it comes again in that same way, be like, this guy need to fear me again. It's going to go and come in another way. So when we learn to adapt with that thing, it's more like finding strength in weakness. That's it's more like finding our strength in weakness, because in every weakness there's always a strength inside. So if we can identify what makes us say I can't, we say that once we live in positivity, once we love ourselves and understand ourselves, we always want to see ourselves win. So I think the tune we need to change from there. If we can identify that point that makes us to say I can't, and start saying I can. I think that's where we should start from and learn to face our fears than running away from our fears.
Right. Yeah, and I agree with that, and I think the other thing that I hear in that message as well is that the the "I can't," when somebody says "I can't," it's more unconscious, deep-rooted fear of something else that probably has nothing to do with the thing that they're actually looking at in the present moment. If I say, "I can't do that high jump," it probably has nothing to do with that high jump and probably has everything to do with some other wound from my past that made me feel unworthy.
Yes, definitely.
And the only way to get over that fear is to face it. And that is part of like healing those wounds and healing those traumas is looking at them and going, I love you anyways.
Yes, I love you and I'm healed. I don't want to, I don't like the feeling. So moments we start taking control of our life and the way we want to feel, we choose. I don't like this feeling of sadness, Abi. Okay, I love myself. Even this time, I love myself, but I think we can easily manage inner world if we tend to love ourselves. We believe in ourselves, even though the outer world or anybody say they don't love you, they don't accept you. There's a case where we love ourselves fully, we understand ourselves, and we believe definitely if we just need to first of all have it within before we can give it out. So that when it comes genuinely from others, we can easily identify and we can work in truth and love and live our life so that we will not jeopardize good friend and build relationship with it and live life with regrets because of character. I've seen a lot of characters.
Yeah, that's awesome, Abraham. I really appreciate you joining me here today. Do you have any closing words that you'd like to share with anybody?
Okay, what I would like to say them, like I always say, well, we can't give out and work it out. If we say we need love, we need peace. we need respect, we need healing, like the light frequency. First of all, we still have it within. It takes a lot for someone to love and believe in themselves, regardless of some things that has happened. And like I'll use myself for an example. I was very shy. I never believed in myself to an extent that I can do some certain thing. But the moment I started and believing in myself and changing the way I think, my thought towards some things. So I will say that you should go love yourself more, believe in yourself, and be a good person out there and manage thoughts like everything I say.
Awesome. Good stuff, Abraham. I appreciate it. Is there, if anybody out there would like to talk with you or chat with you about any more of these ideas and just connect with you, where can they find you?
Okay, you can find me on LinkedIn. Amon Abraham is my name there on LinkedIn. You can also find me on Speaker Hub. I'm on Speaker Hub, and Amon Abraham. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram. I, my book is out though. I, I wrote the book. I'm also an author also. Becoming more than 10. So my book is out on Seller Store. And maybe I'll send you the link. So I came to write a book about myself, my experience, how I do most of the things I do today. And basically, our conversation. So I try to summarize it and put it out there. So you can find me on all these places. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, yeah, definitely send me that link and I'll put it up in the show notes for anybody interested that would like to take a look at that.
Okay, yes, thank you. Thank you for
Thank-
having me here once more. Thank you for your time, sir. I really
Yes,
appreciate it.
thank you. I appreciate it as well.